I want you to take a second and just picture your absolute ideal work setup.
Yeah, really visualize it.
Right. Because for years, if you asked almost anyone, the ultimate goal was total flexibility.
The laptop on a beach stream.
Exactly. Or, maybe just answering emails from the comfort of your living room couch, wearing sweatpants, petting your dog, throwing in a load of laundry.
The classic work from home visual.
Right. And we've been told over and over for years now that flexibility is the ultimate workplace currency.
Mm-hmm.
But we really need to signal a major reality check today because based on the research we have in front of us, the tide has dramatically turned in 2026.
It really has.
The new workplace currency isn't just about where you can open your laptop.
Yeah.
The new currency is, well, it's stability.
It really is a profound pivot in how we view our careers. And we have some genuinely fascinating data to ground this deep dive today.
Yeah, let's get into the sources.
We are looking at a February 2026 press release, and it details a very comprehensive survey conducted by Genesis Property.
Right, they're a major real estate developer in Romania.
Exactly. And at the beginning of this year, they polled 11,146 internet users.
Which is a great sample size.
What makes this data so compelling is that it's a fantastic cross-section of the modern workforce.
And just to give you an idea of who we are actually talking about in this data pool, because, context is everything.
Definitely.
Over 53% of the respondents are men. And crucially, 76% are employees without managerial roles.
That's a huge point.
I love that because this isn't just a survey of 100 CEOs projecting what they want their employees to feel. This is the boots-on-the-ground workforce telling us what they actually value right now.
Right, the real daily workers.
Plus, nearly 33% of them report a net monthly income of over 6,000 LAI.
Which is significant.
Yeah, for our global audience, that translates to roughly $1,300 US dollars or 1,200 euros.
Right.
In the Romanian economy, that represents a solid, comfortable middle class or even upper middle class tier.
Precisely. It's a demographic that has options. But to really understand the shift we're seeing in the data, we have to recognize that this is a very natural human response to our current environment.
Oh, so?
Well, the survey specifically points out that this reshaping of priorities is happening amid a challenging economic and social context marked by deep uncertainty.
The lack of predictability.
Exactly. When the world outside feels volatile, when the headlines are constantly shifting, human beings naturally seek solid ground in their daily routines.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
Because the numbers in this survey really tell a story of what we can call the Great Reprioritization.
I like that term.
We are seeing a mass transition from a growth mindset to a preservation mindset.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the absolute top concerns for employees in 2026, a massive 67% rank job stability and financial security as their number one priority.
67%. That is huge.
So if that is at the top, what happened to flexibility? Did it just fall off the map?
Well, it hasn't disappeared completely, but it has definitely lost its crown. We really need to look at the losers in this priority war to see just how big of a shift this is.
Right.
Flexibility, which, as you mentioned, used to be the absolute gold standard for job seekers, is now sitting at 44.8%.
Wow.
And work-life balance is trailing at 42.9%.
So they've just been completely overshadowed by that fundamental need for security.
Exactly what you just said. We're moving from optimizing for lifestyle, which totally defined the early 2020s, to optimizing for survival and preservation.
Right. It's not that people suddenly hate the idea of work-life balance.
No, not at all.
It's just that work-life balance doesn't actually mean much if you aren't entirely sure your job is even going to exist in 6 months.
What's fascinating here is how this psychological need for safety translates into serious career inertia.
Like risk aversion.
Exactly. Almost half of the respondents, 48.8% to be exact, explicitly state that this is not the right time for major job changes.
People are just locking in.
They are hunkering down. Furthermore, 6.9% are actively choosing financial security over risky new opportunities.
So the days of casually jumping ship to join a chaotic, high-risk startup just for the thrill of the pivot.
They seem to be largely on pause for this demographic.
Think about your own life for a second. If someone offered you a risky startup job tomorrow with unlimited paid time off and all the flexibility in the world versus a slightly boring job that guaranteed you a steady paycheck and a known environment for the next 5 years.
Which one are you actually taking right now?
Right. If you lean toward the boring, stable job, you are completely in sync with these 2026 numbers.
It is a collective exhale. It's a broad decision across the workforce to weather the storm in a safe harbor.
Yeah.
But what is truly surprising in this Genesis property data is where exactly they are choosing to weather that storm.
Yes. Let's get into the why behind the commute.
This is the crazy part.
Because logically, if people just wanted stability and safety, they could theoretically just stay home, keep their heads down, and do their jobs quietly from the couch.
Yeah. You would think so.
But the return to office reality exposed in this survey is shocking. Over 63% of these employees are now going into the physical office daily, or almost daily. So if they aren't being dragged back kicking and screaming, why are they voluntarily enduring the morning commute again?
And this raises an important question. What is the actual draw of the physical desk?
Right.
Because the data clearly shows it is not necessarily because they type faster at an office workstation.
No, it's not about productivity.
No, it's not about raw mechanical productivity or output. It's fundamentally about perception, validation, and connection.
Okay.
The top reason people are going in is to gain professional visibility and to receive validation from their managers for their contribution to the company's performance.
Wait a second. So they aren't going in primarily to collaborate on big projects or brainstorm on whiteboards.
Not primarily, no.
They're basically just showing up for FaceTime with the boss. Isn't that just a return to a performative corporate culture? The whole first one in, last one out mentality.
It sounds performative on the surface, yes. But if we dig a little deeper, we see it's actually a defense mechanism.
Oh, interesting.
In a highly uncertain economy, visibility is a form of job security.
That makes total sense.
If the company has to make cuts, you don't want to be just an avatar on a screen. You want to be the person the manager sees working hard every day.
You want to be a real person to them.
Exactly. But it isn't entirely cynical either. Following right behind that need for visibility, 34.6% say they're commuting simply because they want to reconnect with their colleagues after years of fragmented, isolated work.
That makes a lot of sense. Humans are social creatures after all.
Exactly. And another 30.6% are specifically seeking informal learning and knowledge transfer from more experienced team members.
The mentorship angle.
Think about how much you learn just by existing in a shared space with experts. You overhear a senior colleague handling a difficult client call, or you ask a quick question while pouring coffee.
Yeah, the water cooler moments.
Right. You cannot organically recreate those micro moments of mentorship when you are sitting alone in your kitchen waiting for a scheduled video call to start.
I love how Elena Pinot, the head of leasing and community at Genesis Property, phrases this in the press release.
It's a great quote.
She notes that the office is no longer just an operational space. It has evolved into a platform for belonging, professional visibility, mentorship, and human reconnection.
That phrasing represents a complete paradigm shift. Physical presence at the office is no longer associated solely with operational output.
It's deeper than that now.
It is now intricately tied to strengthening your professional standing and building meaningful interpersonal relationships.
So it's strategic.
Very. If you want to move up or even just secure your current standing, physical visibility has become a key strategy. People want to be seen, validated, and feel like they're part of a tangible community.
Which brings us to the other side of the coin.
The dark side.
Yeah. So if people are prioritizing stability and they view the office as a platform for belonging, staying home seems like it would be safer.
You think?
You save money on gas, you control your environment entirely. But looking at this data, staying home actually seems to be backfiring on people psychologically.
It really is.
This survey really exposes that the honeymoon phase of remote work is aggressively fading.
It truly is. A growing number of employees are actively acknowledging that full-time remote work limits their fundamental human needs.
Let's hear the numbers.
When we look at the self-reported risks of staying home, 45.1% cite professional isolation and loneliness as a major risk.
Wow.
That is nearly half the workforce feeling fundamentally cut off from their peers.
And it's not just the loneliness, which is bad enough.
No.
43.8% are struggling with blurred boundaries between work and personal time.
We have all been there.
Oh, totally. It's 9:00 p.m., you're trying to eat dinner, and your work laptop is just sitting there on the kitchen counter, silently judging you.
Just staring at you.
That lack of physical separation is exhausting. Plus, the survey notes that 28.2% find it difficult to build meaningful professional relationships from behind a screen.
Because it's rigid.
Yeah, it's really hard to build deep trust over rigidly scheduled video calls where everyone is just staring at themselves in the corner of the monitor.
If we synthesize this data, we can see that the immense flexibility of working from home accidentally stripped away the natural boundaries and social safety nets that the physical office provided for decades.
The safety nets, yes.
Think about it. The morning commute, sitting at a designated desk, the small talk by the coffee machine. We used to view these as mundane routines, even annoyances.
Right, everyone complained about the commute.
But they were actually crucial psychological boundaries. They separated work mode from home mode.
A literal transition period.
And those micro-interactions were what built a sense of shared culture. Without them, we're left with isolation, burnout, and a feeling of being untethered.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because employees aren't just returning to the office and meekly accepting things exactly as they were back in 2019.
Far from it.
They've changed. And now they are placing incredibly complex, almost contradictory expectations on their bosses and the physical space itself. They want the best of both worlds.
Contradictory is the perfect word for this dynamic. The expectations are split in a way that demands a highly nuanced, incredibly delicate approach from leadership.
How so?
On one hand, 37.3% of respondents state they still want greater autonomy and flexibility in how they organize their work.
Okay, so they want to be trusted.
But simultaneously, 36.1% demand strong leadership that actively prioritizes team well-being, not just business results.
Wow.
And 35.6% want increased direct support for their mental and emotional health.
So let me get this straight. They want the autonomy to do things their way without being micromanaged.
Right.
But they want a deeply involved manager to constantly monitor and ensure they are mentally okay while doing it. That is an unbelievable tightrope for leadership to walk. How does a manager actually balance giving someone total freedom with providing deep emotional support?
It requires a completely different skill set from a manager today. They aren't just assigning tasks and checking spreadsheets anymore.
They're doing emotional labor.
They're expected to be part-time therapists and community managers. It calls for a profound injection of humanity into management.
That's a huge shift.
Employees are literally begging for real empathy. According to the data, 48.2% expect genuine attention to their needs from their managers.
Almost half.
Furthermore, in this current climate of uncertainty we discussed earlier, 47.5% demand real transparency in decision-making and honest communication.
No more corporate speak.
Exactly. They also need crystal clarity. 33.5% are asking for clear direction regarding the company's priorities and expected outcomes.
So they want to know the plan.
They want to know exactly where the ship is steering, and they want to trust the captain.
And if leadership has to undergo this massive transformation, the physical office has to change too.
Absolutely.
We mentioned earlier that the office is now a platform for belonging. Well, the data shows that presence without purpose is completely dead.
You can't just force them back for no reason.
Right. You can't just force people to commute so they can sit in a gray cubicle and send emails they could have sent from home.
Exactly.
So if they're making the effort to commute, what do they actually want the office to look like?
The environment needs to actively support this new, complex ecosystem. The survey highlights exactly what employees consider essential for the modern office to be worth the trip.
What's at the top of the list?
46.3% say they critically need collaborative spaces, areas designed specifically for group work and brainstorming.
Makes sense.
And 38.8% want informal interaction areas.
Basically, spaces where those accidental micro-mentorship moments can actually happen.
Precisely.
And I found this stat fascinating. 32.1% specifically want green and regeneration spaces.
Nature in the office.
Yeah. They don't just want a dingy break room with a humming microwave and a water cooler. They want a place to genuinely recharge their mental batteries during the day.
It's vital now.
But of course, they also need to actually get their focused work done. 28.7% are asking for dedicated quiet zones, for individual deep focus, away from all that collaboration.
Exactly. It's about designing a complex, multifaceted ecosystem.
It has to do everything.
It has to support collaboration, mentorship, recognition, and long-term professional development, while all being complemented by the ongoing flexibility of hybrid work.
That is a tall order.
It's a massive architectural and cultural challenge.
Which brings us perfectly to the authors of this survey, Genesis Property.
Right.
Because they aren't just a research firm observing these trends from afar. They are developers actively building the concrete reality of these statistics.
They are putting the data into practice.
To give some context on Genesis Property, they are one of the leading developers and operators of Class A office buildings in Romania.
And for anyone unfamiliar, Class A essentially means the absolute highest quality spaces on the market.
Premium locations, State-of-the-art infrastructure, top-tier amenities.
Exactly.
They have over 20 years of experience in the real estate market.
They have a massive footprint, yes. They own and manage two of Bucharest's largest business campuses, Westgate Business District and Unity Park.
That's a lot of real estate.
We're talking about over 150,000 square meters of gross leasable area.
More than 15,000 employees work in their spaces every single day. They even developed Westgate Studios, which is the first and largest private student campus in Romania.
So they know communities.
Right. So when they pull survey data on what employees want, they are directly applying those insights to a massive, highly influential population.
The most concrete example of this data being applied in the real world is Unity Park. This is an office campus owned by Leviu Tudor, the founder of Genesis Property. They conceived this campus specifically as a response to the evolving needs we've been discussing today.
The need for community and wellness.
Yes. It is currently in its third phase of development, and it's backed by a massive total investment of 50 million euros.
Wow. 50 million euros is a serious commitment to this new vision of work. What does an investment like that actually buy you in terms of reinventing the office space?
It buys you a total transformation of the environment. You can see how the survey data directly influences the architectural design.
Like the green spaces we mentioned.
Exactly. They are implementing incredibly generous green areas, sophisticated indoor and outdoor relaxation zones, outdoor amphitheaters, and facilities that strictly promote physical and mental well-being at work.
It sounds more like a resort than a corporate park.
It perfectly aligns with Genesis Properties' overarching philosophy for this era, which they call hospitality for global talent.
Hospitality for global talent. That is a very different vibe from commercial real estate leasing.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is a brilliant way to frame it. It shows a fundamental transition in the real estate industry itself.
From landlords to something else.
Developers are shifting away from being simple landlords who just collect rent on operational desk space. They're being forced to become community builders.
Community builders. I like that.
They are creating integrated work ecosystems designed to holistically support both the professional growth and the personal psychological balance of employees across all generations.
Right. So it's holistic.
The goal is to place the human being with all their contradictory needs for autonomy and support at the very center of the work experience.
So what does this all mean? When we take a step back and look at all these percentages, all this investment, all this shifting psychology, what is the core takeaway?
It means that in 2026, the workplace is definitively no longer just a location where tasks are completed.
The factory model is dead.
That era is over. The workplace has to be a vital ecosystem. Employees are navigating a highly uncertain world, and they are actively looking to their employers and the physical spaces they work in to provide the stability, the mentorship, and the community that feels lacking in the broader economic and social context right now.
It's sanctuary.
In a way, yes. The real stake for employers today isn't just about mandate policies. It is about rebuilding a genuine sense of belonging to strengthen retention and foster resilience.
I want to direct this right to you, our listener. As a learner, you are constantly absorbing new information to navigate your world better and make smarter decisions.
And this data is crucial for that.
Whether you are a manager trying to figure out how to lead your team through these confusing times without burning them out, or you're an employee sitting there deciding how many days a week you should really be commuting.
Understanding this underlying data is a major strategic advantage.
Recognizing this deep collective craving for visibility, security, and true human connection will help you navigate your own career path with so much more clarity.
It's about recognizing the unspoken needs driving the behavior of the people around us. When a colleague insists on coming into the office every day, they might not just prefer the dual monitors.
Right.
They might be actively seeking the security and validation of being seen.
Exactly. It completely reframes how we view office dynamics. But it also leaves us with a lingering thought.
What's that?
Based on the source material we just covered, 42.1% of employees are returning to the office primarily to gain professional visibility and validation from their managers for their contributions.
Right, the visibility factor.
Does this mean we haven't actually figured out how to measure true performance in the modern era?
That is a very provocative question.
If visibility is the main driver pulling people back, are we essentially returning to the old days of presenteeism, where simply being seen sitting at a desk is subconsciously rewarded over the actual quality of the work produced?
It's a real danger.
Something for you to mull over the next time you scan the office to see who is actually sitting at their desk.